by Danielle Eden, and it is a character or a caricature of Audrey Hepburn with a kind of Tinkerbell fairy infusion. And congratulations, Danielle, on being one of the top four pieces. This is very appealing and just super cute. So you did a great job. The hands, particularly, I love. The face is really well done, and yeah, it's just a really fun piece. So before I start my critique, a little intro about me. I'm a friend of Liron Topaz, and also, if you guys hear that, that's a thunderstorm going on outside. But hopefully it won't be too loud for the critique. But yeah, so I'm a friend and former Ringling classmate of Liron, and I'm also a professional in the animation industry. I've worked on projects for Sony, Blue Sky, Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney, and I also do a lot of freelance artwork in character design, particularly. So I'm going to just give you a critique of how you could just kind of amp up this piece, maybe make a few small anatomical changes, and just kind of elevate it a little bit, bring it to the next level, and all while maintaining the essence of your piece. I want it to still, feel like yours because you have a style that you are going for, and I think that it works well. So I don't want to change it too much. So the first thing that I'm going to do here to set up the file is creating an onion skin, which is just a layer of transparency here. And then I'm going to do another layer, which will be the draw over layer. And so that just allows me to have black lines, construction lines that ride over the initial piece. Alright, so looking at it straight away, the first thing that I think is, this is so cute. Well, yeah, so that's the first thing that I think. But then after that, the second thing that I think is, okay, there's a few little issues going on with the anatomy. So let's see. Typically the femur is the same length as the tibia, and so here we have the tibia is a little bit too long. So all I'm going to do here, and also the way this foot is kind of coming up, I kind of feel like you were trying to roll the foot in that cute pose where a character is meant to look nervous and kind of introverted. So I'm going to run with that, and hopefully that's what you're going for. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lengthen the femur just a little bit, and shorten, like I said, the shin, the calf. I'll keep that a little bit thinner at the bottom. Shrink my eraser a bit. Okay. And she's got these little shoes on. So, okay. And now, in terms of her proportions, now obviously in drawing there's really no such thing as a wrong, per se, proportion, because there's a million different body types in the real world. So essentially no anatomy is ever wrong unless it wasn't what you were going for. So considering that we have as reference Audrey Hepburn, and then maybe a Disney character like Tinkerbell for the fairy type reference, I'm assuming that this is meant to be more classical female proportions. So to that end, there's just a few tweaks that I would do. One of which would be, having slightly larger hips, and then even though you have this nice line, this line that carries through into her slouch, you still want to have that distinction between the hips, where the hips and the back meet. And also, I think what I would do is I would make her slouching even more. Actually, I think because you have her head resting in her hands, what I'm going to do here is, see if this works. I'm going to grab her head, and I'm going to copy and paste that. And then I think I'm going to bring it down, and then maybe just for the sake of asymmetry, maybe rotate it 10 degrees or so. Yeah. Okay. Something more like that. And let's take this. Oops. take your blue here, and I'll add that. Just riding over top here so we don't have a distraction as to what's going on back there. By the way, I really like what you've done with the hair. It's a nice treatment. Just the very minimal flares, but it just does a nice job of showing what the hair is meant to be doing, and it's just a really good stylistic transition. I like it. Okay, so, and then also we see that the forearm and the upper arm are also different lengths. The forearm is longer, just as the tibia was longer, and I'm not sure if that was a stylistic choice, but considering that this style is semi-realistic, I think that you're going to want to go with the most accurate proportions that you can. So I'm just going to kind of dial back the length of that forearm. And then, here's her shoulder coming up. Okay. And we can keep all this stuff pretty much the same that you've got. Now with this foot, it kind of looks broken actually, and I think what you're trying to do is the same thing I did over here, which is kind of roll the foot or just kind of make it feel like she's kind of nervous or awkward with her posture. And if the foot was actually up like this, you would see the underside of the shoe. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to twist her knee towards, or twist her foot towards her body, which is going to bring the calf out a little bit, right, like that. And I'm just going to have her foot coming towards camera, like that. So that still kind of conveys that nervous kind of posture, and it doesn't look quite as broken. It's still a little bit more extreme than most people would be able to bring their foot, but I think it works for the sake of the drawing. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the, actually, you know what? I'm gonna try something, and it might work, it might not. Just in terms of maybe more realism, I'm going to experiment here with you. And what if I were to take this arm and bring it around here? I think I kind of like that actually, so I'm going to keep that. But maybe something along those lines, like it just kind of seems a little more naturalistic than having her hands resting in her hand, or her head, sorry, resting in her hands. And then maybe you add like a little bit of a flare with the cheek, like don't be afraid to squish her up a little bit. In terms of the caricature, I don't know, you really did a good job of with the eyebrows, because Audrey Hepburn has very prominent eyebrows, so you've got that going on. Maybe, you have that little angularity. She kind of has that trademark, flare with her nostrils, so maybe you kind of play that up a little bit. And I guess my last note would be that her expression, I'm not exactly sure what she's thinking. Maybe if she'd be a little more, dreamy, daydreamy, if her brows angled up or something like that. I'm not really sure. Just always try to be clear with the expression, with what you're going for with the character. But yeah, I think that's really all that I would do to this. I think it's a very nice piece. It's very cute, and yeah, I just, the same thing that I've said in many other critiques in the past of character designs is that you really, when you simplify things down and you're distilling reality into single lines, you just want to make sure that those lines are saying exactly what you want them to say, that they're defining the form in the proper way, and that your knowledge of the form is either very accurate or based on reference. And I've drawn hundreds, if not thousands, of characters, and definitely thousands. And I still will turn to reference sometimes. Usually for every project, at some point I will use reference. Just looking at a posture, or the contours of a certain body part, or it doesn't really matter. You just want to base your stylization on something in the real world, and then that really elevates it. It brings it this truth that's hard to capture just out of your head. Actually, Glenn Keane, the famous Disney artist, once said that that's where he got the most information that he learned from as an animator, was from life, drawing from life. There's a reason that they have you do that in art school, that they have nude models and everything. It's because you can't look at a drawing, someone else's artwork, no matter how good it is, and expect to get the same knowledge out of the real thing. So it's kind of like, why not go to the source? You base your stylization and your choices in graphic elements. You can base that off of what other artists have done. That's a great thing to do. I'll look at and study other artists all the time. But really, when it comes down to almost anything that you could draw, whether you're drawing a train or a tree or a human, you really just want to study and always be a student. And if you have a question about how to draw a hand, particularly, those are very difficult, or just how to handle anything, stare at a few photographs, and it'll give you more mileage than any experimentation or looking at other artistic references will do for you. So anyway, congratulations again, Danielle, on having your piece selected as one of the top pieces, and that wraps up my critique.